Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. So today I just wanted to say a few things because I thought I would just share some of the things that I was reading about in the news, and also to try and talk about how we can. I don't know if we can come out of it, but if we can, that would be great. Or if we can try and not get ourselves trapped again. Well, you're listening to active channel of Africa 101 Live. So this channel is some people were asking me about why Africa looks to be upside down. Maybe it's time for us to change it and look at Africa from the top. We keep looking at Africa from the bottom because we're used to it. It looks good that way, but what if we're looking at it from a different angle? Maybe that's how we should start approaching Africa instead of looking at it the way we're told to look at it. By all the time looking at ourselves like we're down, we are always looking at ourselves as we're nothing. Maybe it's time for us to start thinking differently and make changes in whatever we are doing. But with that will also come the challenges of stopping ourselves from borrowing money to say we're developing Africa, yet we are not going to be able to pay some of the loans that we're getting ourselves into. I know it's very nice. You can lobby for money, you can ask for donations, you can ask for different leaders to invest in your country, which is it's a progressive way of looking at it. But if the money is just a debt trap of diplomacy, that is where some of our countries are really stuck. So, for example, there are 5 countries I wanted to share with you that are so very much in debt with China. For the last few days, I've been looking at some of the things, and so let's start with Sudan. So Sudan is full of very, very poor people, very poor brothers and sisters. But the country has a debt of $6.4 billion. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And yet we're still poor. What are we forgetting? Another country on the list is the Republic of Congo. That's another one. That one is 7.3 billion. Okay, there is an emerging trend here of where China can come and give you as much money as they want. They will give it to you because they know in 10 years, once the 10 years are over, the diplomacy trap begins. And if you don't pay their money, there are traps around, there are traps there. And their way of trapping you is them taking over part of the country. Because they know you're not going to be able to pay for it. And even you, who is the president, who went ahead with all your presidential advisors and the board, whatever you want to call it, you went ahead and borrowed money, yet you know very well that the country is not going to be able to pay for it. But you went ahead and borrowed it. They gave it to you knowing that you're not going to be able to pay for it. What are we forgetting? Why don't we learn? And the third one that I have on the list here is Kenya. Kenya is another one. So Kenya has a debt of $8 billion. $8 billion. Sometimes I read the things and smile, but then I tend to think, why are these African presidents not seeing the trend that China is doing? Why are they so blind And the thing is, you find that with the problem with, let me say, with us Africans, is English is not really our thing. As much as we really think that we speak English, we've learnt it. But English was... There are things I'm going to start teaching about English, which might shock some of you, because English is tied to the Bible, to Christianity. And if you're a Christian, you need to start waking up, because if I'm going to teach some things that are going to touch some of you Christians, and if you're Christian right now and you want to learn more, stick around, you will learn. Because your Bible even says, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. It also tells you to question the scriptures. That's because the truth is within the Bible, and so are other lies. But you have to use your brain to scan what is true and what's not. But we just keep reading it and wake up in the morning and say amen. You might be thinking, how come I'm talking about all the debt and I'm in the Bible at the moment? It's because I want to talk about things to do with why we do not read the fine prints. And like I said in the last video that I made, I talked about nowadays they might not even be small prints. It might be big prints. They are too big that you don't even recognize them. But they're right there. You just have to take the time to read them. But some of us are so excited because all they tell you is, number one, you sign here and we'll send the money through. You're excited because the only thing that is required from you right now is signing that big document. And you don't even take the time to read that you're just destroying yourselves along the way. So Kenya, $8 billion. And then we come to Ethiopia. Okay, have you guys, I don't know, have we lost our mind? Have we just all of a sudden gone stupid? We've got starving kids, we've got sick women, we've got sick fathers, mothers, grandparents, we've got sick people, hungry people. And we're so busy borrowing more money. So, Ethiopia, $13.5 billion. 13. Hey, sorry about that. We just had here a technical problem. The camera just switched off, but let's get started. So anyway, so I was talking about Kenya. No, I think it was I was talking about let's see. I was talking about Ethiopia. Ethiopia has $13.5 billion of debt to China. Your people are sick, your people are suffering, your people are in poverty, and you've got $13 billion. Okay, what are you really doing? That is a lot of money. How are you going to pay for it? Seriously, let's just look at this condition that we've put our motherland in. I know sometimes I feel cranky and I get pissed off because of this. But sometimes my smile is just, but deep down it hurts. We've got very, very ill people. and the mother of all debts in Africa. The mother of all debts right now, as I'm talking, is Angola, with $25 billion. 25 billion. So $25 billion, that is a lot of money. You know, if your ancestors were around, and when I talk about your ancestors, I talk about the people who controlled Africa, the ones who built the icons that stand till today in Egypt, in different parts of Africa. If they knew that you turned around, sold it, I don't think they would be happy. But we have we have a problem, and our problem is one president comes in, so stays in power for whatever time because of greed. And that is one other thing that I wanted to touch about. There's too much greed in our own motherland. I'm black. I have to say this. We've got an idiotic way of controlling and ruling and being in power. The first time I came to this country, in Australia, there is their political system of leadership is really good. Somebody serves for a particular time, and once they're done, they can go out. Someone else kicks in. So let's say 4 years. You control those 4, and if you're good enough, you go for another 4. I think the United States also does that. So once you do that, you then tend to you tend to not put your country into debt that you know very well that is not going to be, like, it will make you accountable. But the problem is, now, for example, you look at all these countries, 25 billion, 13 billion, 8 billion. These countries are not going to be able to pay China back that money. Yet this whole thing was a diplomatic way of trapping you. But it's too diplomatic, and because you're too educated, you don't actually say it. Maybe sometimes we need to use common sense and not rely on what some lawyer who wants you to pay or some other guy who wants you to understand that they know what they're doing, yet they don't actually know. They're just reading through paperwork that is going to trap your own country. And then eventually you realize that you just sold out the whole half of the country. And the problem is, this is what is even happening. Let me just say, this is even what's happening even here in Australia. But in Australia, they are not borrowing money and then giving them land. It's just individuals, because in Australia, you can buy land. So if China comes and they buy some piece of land in any country, let me say, any country, China can go and buy land. But the problem that happens is they do not sell that land. Once they have it for life. Don't get that out of your head. Once they buy the land, they have it for life. They might say, okay, for example, they have given you $25 billion. And they tell you, okay, for this $25 billion, you start paying off in 10 years. Right now, it's all cruise. So you know very well that you're the president, and you might not be in power for those 10 years. Then the next president, that is now the bill they have to carry. That is the debt that president has to carry. But because we look at it as politics, it all becomes very easy. Because it's politics, so you're just going to say you're going to create more jobs. So let's say you borrowed $25 billion, you borrowed 8 billion. So all this money is for a project. So the project is, let's say, let's build a new airport. Okay? The new airport is in place. You just promised your countrymen and women that you're going to create jobs. So you borrowed the money from China to build this massive project. Maybe bridges, highways, airports. Everybody in the country is excited. What is going to happen? So the project starts. Guess who is coming to build the projects? It's China going to come back and build. Then you have to pay. So now you just borrowed the money to pay them back to build what you did not actually need, but you wanted. And now you're in a trap that you can't really come out. Because of greed and idiocy, you put the whole country into a trap that everybody is in it. The poor who had nothing to do with it are trapped in it. The rich who had nothing to do with it are trapped in it. The idiots who were part of the whole system are part of it now. But they don't realize it because it's now. And they forget that there is tomorrow. How are you going to actually come out of it? Some countries are trying to sue China for the corona problem. Yeah. Maybe when you sue them and you charge, sue them and make them pay 20 billion, that cancels out the debt you have with them. I don't think China is stupid. We are just so... I'm sorry to say this, but I think we as African people, we have a problem with me. Yet the whole system used to be united. Africa used to be united. Now it's my country, your country, this country, that country. I'm in debt, I'm not in debt, I'm good, I'm better than you, I'm this, I'm cool. All that for the idiocy of what? Leadership? I'm not going to stay here and speak smart and act smart and pretend everything is good because I'm not going to say stupid. So if something is stupid, it's stupid. If you're an African, you should know this. If your mom told you to stop doing something, she's not going to say, stand in the corner or go to your bedroom. No. Your mom will smack you in the head. Smack you until you... Just smack you and say you're stupid. Why did you do that? I don't think your mom will say, okay, you've done that, such a big mistake. I'm just going to give you a hug and send you to your bedroom. If that happened to you, maybe that's why we're all messed up. Let's treat Africa like home. I know we think, okay, this is something that I want to touch on right now, because if I don't touch on it, I might promise I'll talk about it, but sometimes I just go on. But what I wanted us to look at right now is, let's look at Christianity with all this mess that we're in. Okay? You were told that when you die, you're going to two places, heaven or hell. The Catholic Church said no, there's a third place called purgatory. So now you've got three places. So the three places you might go is either heaven, hell, or purgatory. Okay? That mindset is what has destroyed us, because we have no idea who we are. We've forgotten. Everybody else knows who they are. You ask anyone, they'll tell you where they come from. You ask Africans, where are you from, Africa? Okay. Do you even know anything about it? No. Forgetting that you came from greatness. You came from a civilization that was the greatest in the world. But they told you that you're nothing. They gave you salvation because you needed to be saved from yourself. And you believed it. That's why you see we've got the idiocy of saying is believing. That is so backwards. Seeing is not believing, because anyone can make you see what they want you to see. So seeing is not actually believing. It's the other way around. What have we done? I was talking to a few people about reincarnation. Some people, when I say that, they all think, okay, here we go, this is another idiot who is going to talk about that. Okay. Why did your ancestors write on a rock in Egypt? For you to know yourself. Why did they write that? Why did they want you to know yourself? And why is everybody trying to make you forget who you are? In history, look at the whole history books that are sent in Africa. Your history of Africa was written by somebody who wanted you to believe what you think you believe. We are not even looking at history told by our own scholars, but we're so busy reading a Bible. Yet some of the pastors are even listen. Some of you who are listening right now are pastors. You don't even know that book, because every Sunday you just pick a chapter, you make a sermon, everybody rejoices, you sing, the Holy Spirit is in everybody. Yay! End of service. Has everybody paid? Yes or no? Because we don't think, we just believe. But if we knew that this is home, Africa is home, and stopped the idiocy of selling yourselves out, that's why you see, okay, this is something that I have to say. Don't blame anyone. You know, I started blaming people who would say, we are too populated for the earth. Okay? We're too populated, but where are they targeting most? They're targeting Africa most. And you ask yourself, why are they targeting Africa most? Because they want to be part of Africa, but they don't want you in it. So when you start selling off parts of your country, or putting parts of your country into debt that you know you are not going to pay, so let's say when the Chinese companies or whatever come in, they occupy that part of the country that you idiotically signed. So which means once they make it part of the Chinese government, your government in that country, you have no right to do business in that spot. So now everybody within that line is forced to move. So now you're congesting people slowly as you go. Next time they'll say they need to develop another place, and they'll give you more money. You say, okay, give us money to support our people. Good. They'll give it to you. But now they've bought another section. Now they're squeezing you all into one place. And guess who is coming to rescue you? Some of you have guessed it. Bill Gates will be there to give you all his things and teach you how we are too populated. You guys are not seeing the big picture here. We have kids, we have don't some of you even want to be great grandparents? You just want your generation to just end there. That's it, cut off, done. Because of idiotic policies that you don't even think. But the problem is, most of you even don't want to even understand about reincarnation. This is where we need to understand as black people. You think you're black for just for fun? You think you're black by accident? We just misuse our color and we think we're nothing. Why does everybody else want to be us? And then guess what? We want to be them. Like we are so twisted, like we are so backwards. Everyone wants to be you. You want to be them. So for example, as I said, within 10 years, they have given you a loan. The loan is all signed off. So now it's time for your country to pay. You cannot pay. And if you default, they are going to come and take everything that is within that area that was in the agreement that you accidentally forgot to read. Because you were so excited to sign off $10 billion. $20 billion. Now you've just signed off that. And with the mess that we have in Africa, this is where we are going to be so much in a trap that we are never going to come out. In Africa, we don't keep paperwork. I'm sorry to say this, we think we keep paperwork. Some people don't keep paperwork that can last for 100 years. Some people can't even keep paperwork for 2 years. When something happens, when something wrong happens in a country, we automatically start running into violence. Burn down every tree, burn down every building. You start blowing up every government building. You start destroying every business. Because it's the mentality that they have put into your head. Destroy yourselves while you're still alive. And then come back to nothing. That is because no one is telling you. Your pastors are not educating you. They are just feeding you bullshit and telling you that Jesus loves you. No, he doesn't. Why? He never existed. Boom, I've just thrown it to you. Never was. Your ancestors did not even know him. And did you know him? So, when it comes to some of the things, we need to educate our people. We need to educate them and get them out of the mentality of thinking that they are going to go to heaven and they are going to go to hell. Or they're going to go to purgatory. We need to get out of that idiocy and start telling people that, hey, there is a way you can get out of this trap. But if you're not going to get out of this trap, you're going to come back in the same mess. Know who you are. So that by accident, maybe you come back, you know exactly who you are, and you can start again and become more powerful. Because nowadays, we're in a world that is attached to generational wealth. This is where you make much money as you can for your family and for everybody, so that when you die, your kids continue running that business or running some other company till another generation jumps into it as well and then continues. Not this small-minded politics. I want to buy a house, I want to build, I want to drive a Porsche, I want to drive like all these are things, these are tools that are slowing your mental capacity down. I know they're useful, they make you feel good, get all the ladies, Really? And that's it? You want to piss on everybody and think that they're all useless and you're the only one who drives a nice car because you worked in government, sold out half of it? You know, we all have a dream of Africa uniting. But the problem is, we are not going to unite because we've got a lot of greed in most of our leaders. We have a lot of greed. I don't think most of them are going to even step down and say, no, I want to step down and make my country a state so that we have one country called Africa. No. No one's going to step down. A few can step down, but a majority of them are not going to step down. There's too much greed. There's me, and also the influence of other people telling you that you should not unite because then you will be poor like every other country, forgetting that united you stand, the stronger you become, the stronger the economy, the stronger everybody joins together. And why not make something out of all this mess? I was talking about paperwork. We sign off these papers, sold up half of the land, something happens, they burn down the whole building, all the paperwork gone. Remember, the Chinese don't destroy their paperwork. They wrote it. Now they can go in and change anything they want because they know you do not have the original paper that was signed off. They have the original. They can redo it again. 100 years later, you're gone. You're maybe dead off, gone. You know, your kids or the new generation of politicians who did not even have the idea why you could have even done such a stupid thing are now in a trap that they cannot come out because the paperwork got burnt. Oh yeah, we're so, this is idiotic. Yet we could have central points of backups. This is not hard to do, especially nowadays with hard drives so cheap. Seriously, hard drives are so cheap. Big things, they're so cheap. Like, you can grab these. So imagine if you can make terabytes of this, a lot of them in different spots. Some of them can even be offline, so that when you connect, you're online but internally, so that you have a backup of a backup of a backup in case something goes wrong somewhere. You have an original print or a scan somewhere. But instead, we are so happy to say everything is in good condition. We'll keep it, sign off, lock it somewhere, and that's it. It's good to have hard copy, but it's also good to have digital copy because you can reprint that hard copy. Instead, we're busy. Once there is a riot in a place, the first thing we're going to do is go break into someone's shop, break into another business, destroy some businesses, and then we're happy that we've created a mess. And we call that change. No, we are going backwards again. For me, what could maybe happen is if Africa could just change. If you are in power and you put a country into debt, you become accountable. You become accountable. So that even if your term is over, you are accountable for the debt you've done, for the mess you've created. Not this free card. You out of power, you fly off to a different country. You're gone, exiled, run. He's gone. The country is in a mess. You put the whole mess back into the poor people who have to stand and fight again to save the country. You the idiot, you've just gone. I'm sorry to say it because everybody, their babies, their mothers, their fathers, who had nothing to do with signing off that loan. Most of them just wanted to live happily. But now, because of greed, you wanted to develop a very nice looking building, a very massive airport, and yet your country has no plane. Or even if it has a plane, it has only maybe 2, 3. Some of them don't even have one. But because we wanted to show off that we're powerful, and you made a promise you're going to create jobs that you did not even fulfill. Imagine if you're accountable for that. A few days ago, I suggested that maybe we could create one Africa, one united Africa, where we have one voice. But out of that one voice, we've got many voices. And everyone who is any leader who was a president of their country can get a chance to be president. So that every country tests the feeling of being the ones who ran Africa at a certain point. This is history you're making for your generation, for your kids. This is history you're making. But instead, we're so busy trying to take over. Your position, all you do is just want to lock them up or get them taken out. Yet we've got like the Western, we are copying everything from the Western culture, but we're not copying brains. Instead, they leave us copy what is stupid. Like hip hop. Yes, like hip hop. You heard me. So if you're a young person who loves hip hop, I'm very sorry to tell you hip hop has destroyed everything about you. We've destroyed ourselves. We're so happy trying to pretend that we love hip-hop, that hip-hop is our thing, hip-hop is our culture. It tells us who we are. We are cool, we are gangsters. No, you have no clue what a gangster can be. A gangster does not make noise. A gangster is smart. Gangsters don't go and sing. Gangsters are smart. And they're rich. They don't make noise. They're deadly, but they don't make noise. You're there, you're making noise on the mic, and you call yourself a gangster, you call yourself a G. No, you're not. To me, you're just, I don't know what I can say. You're somebody who is destroying kids. Why am I saying you're destroying these kids? Because you keep telling them the songs you make are talking of murder, and you think you've done good. They're talking about selling drugs. What image are you portraying to these young ones? What, that is life? That's it? You're messed up and that's it? Hip-hop is not our culture. If any black person, either in America, thinks that hip-hop is our culture, that is so messed up. Let me give you a secret here. Why do rich people, entrepreneurs, people who have money, people who have made it, why do they listen to opera? Why do they listen to this music that is so... it just makes you go to sleep? Why do they listen to music? Why do they just go and listen to someone playing piano? It's because these are symphonies of your brain. It's because music is a direct connection to your brain. Sound connects to your brain. That's why you see, rich people can listen to music that some of these young people will listen to and go, oh, goodness, what are you listening to? But there is a secret. The music they listen to taps to your brain. It makes you think. It gives you it accelerates your brain. That's why you see, you find them all dressed up in nice clothes, all dressed up very nicely, going to sit down and just listen to someone playing piano, playing operas, doing this. It's because they have a secret that they've learned. While for us, so busy dancing hip hop, and then you go home, you're so broke, you have no money for rent. You even don't you don't even know what you're going to eat tomorrow. But you're so busy saying you love hip hop and it's going to make you cool. And that word cool is what has destroyed black people. We want to look cool. Because you see Jay-Z listening or making hip hop, you think that is your culture? No. Those guys sold you out a long time ago. They don't care who you are. They don't care about you. And if you don't buy their music, trust me, no rich man is going to buy their hip hop. It will all go to the ground straight away. But no, it's the poor people who keep buying shitty music, crappy music that's destroying us. And we think that is cool. I used to produce hip hop. I used to produce beats. But something hits you and you realize you are contributing to the same mess that is destroying your people. Why not change the game? Why not change it? Instead, we're so proud. I'm playing hip hop. Now it's even gone so far that some people are not even recognizing it. Churches are now playing hip hop and saying it's all for the glory of God. No, it's for the idiocy of your mind. People need to stop this saying that now there is hip hop for Christianity. There is this for... No, all that thing is the same. It's all the same. It's messing you completely up. But you're not seeing it because you don't want to. Yet the truth is right in front of you. Let's empower each other. We need to start understanding technology in Africa. And not only in Africa. If you're black, you need to understand some of the things. But the thing is, even some of our black people don't even want to share the idea they have with fellow black people. We're so focused on dressing up well, getting those sneakers, killing each other for idiotic stuff because we want to look cool. We want to sound tough. And yet most of these tough people who act tough are not actually tough. The songs might sound tough, but they themselves are not even that tough, because if they were tough, they would be in Africa helping Africa. Now you tell me. They would be on YouTube. They have a following that can change half of Africa. They can go to YouTube, they can go and do things online and help our motherland. But they act tough just for the show. Just act tough for the show. So if they're really, really that tough, they're really, really that gangster, they're really, really that cool, go to Africa and help your brothers and sisters. Instead of saying, I'm cool, I'm tough, I have $1 million houses, I have this many cars. There are little kids in Africa dying of hunger. And we have idiotic black people who continue buying the same shitty, stupid music instead of saying, okay, this money that I'm going to put on this guy's music, I'm going to send it to some poor kid out in Africa. Connect with people in Africa. It doesn't matter whether they're corrupt. Try and get a message to someone somewhere. Help one, help many. Instead of helping those who don't even need your help. If they find themselves in big traps of debt, it's up to them. They took themselves there. But now it's you, the poor one, who has no food for your kids, going to buy that music. Music that has messages that mess with you. And you're so happy that that is our culture. No, it's not. The last hip-hop track that I listened to, the last hip-hop album I listened to was of Eminem. And what was even his name? I've forgotten his name. I think it was Bad Meets Evil, or Evil Meets Bad, something like that. That was my last hip-hop album that I listened to. Since then, I don't even know what is out there. I don't know. I used to listen to hip hop. It was nice in the 90s. I used to listen to hip hop. I loved it. They had good beats. They had messages in hip hop. KRS-One. Those were I would listen to those guys, and I know these guys are our people. Nowadays you listen to rubbish and you think, who even sings that? No respect for our women, no respect for any woman. And to make things worse, the women are also told that if somebody is not good for you, go and get another one who has money. So, from bad to worst to distraction. All for the fun of it. Because you wanted to listen to that track. Yet we don't see the things. Why do you think that most of these people take their kids to learn how to play piano, to learn how to play music, to learn how to sing, to learn how to dance, to learn how to do things that are going to stimulate their minds? It's so natural to them now that they don't even realize they're doing it. They think their kids just want to go and play opera. It's so natural to them because they don't even have to think of it. It just happens naturally. It's like us. A little kid listens to music, depending on the music they're growing up on. As soon as they listen to the beat, kids start even dancing. You don't even know why. But it's because music is a direct way to talking to your mind. Let's stop being so idiotic. And let's do something. Anyway, I've spoken for a long time, and I think I've repeated myself many times. But thanks for listening. I hope I can inspire one or two. And if you didn't like this video, it's okay to dislike it. If I touched on something that you did not like, that's okay. It doesn't have to touch everybody. You just have to listen and learn something that you might not have known. And if you already knew it, then let's help each other work out a way to help one another. It doesn't have to be black or white. Because even there are white people who need help. And there are those who are just who know how to help, but they can't. They have the money, they have the means. Instead, they use the means for the wrong thing. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope I'll talk to you next time. Have a nice day, and take care of each other. Take care of yourself. And yeah, talk soon. Have a nice day. Bye.